Come on.
We're good?
Take over there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, man. Episode 5 of the Golf Strong podcast, and it is our Masters special. It's extra special because we have the West champion, Keith Deegan, with us. He's probably a small bit fed up of talking about his victory. So we're going to turn our attention to what is one of the most exciting weeks of the year in sport. And Peter, as you said last night on Instagram, it's Christmas week. For you, first of all, what makes the Masters so special?
For me?
Yeah.
Sure, it's obviously the first major of the year. I think of the music, the tradition of it all comes down to the back nine on Sunday. I mean, it really does. It's rare it doesn't. I was a massive, and still am a massive Tiger fan. So I do remember probably I don't bet much at all. I don't bet at all, but I do remember having a bet on him at 16-1 that time he won in 97 by 12. And sure, the crack we had around that, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's loads of good stuff. I think the best day I ever had watching golf was Tigers win in 2019 because I think it was changed for weather. So it was actually middle of the day for us. And it was bliss, and I was home alone for some reason. Mary Claire and the kids were out, and it was, yeah.
Home alone watching the Masters actually sounds like a dream.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was, and it really was. So I suppose that's what it means for me.
Of course. And Keith, what makes it special for you? No doubt you're a fan.
Yeah, such a fan, and it's probably the one golf tournament all year where I'm super excited to watch, and I would actually cancel a lot of my plans just to watch it. So I think how iconic the golf course is and the fact that it's there every year makes it so iconic, and you kind of know like every shot that the players have because of like watching it over the years. And I suppose like comparing this tournament this week to previous years, like when Tiger was at his peak, I suppose being able to do that is just so cool. And then just like how famous Augusta is for being in incredible condition and the greens being fast and slopey, it just seems like it's a lot more prestigious than anything else that they play in.
Brilliant. Well, the holes in specifically, we talked about the 13th recently and stuff, so I'd love to get some thoughts on some of the holes that the more casual golfer may not know about. But first of all, Keith, sticking with you, what would be your main memory or your earliest memory of the Masters? Where are you? Who are you with? And who are you watching?
I suppose my like earliest memory that I have is probably that I can think of, and probably just because it's so iconic, it outweighs every other memory I have is Tiger in 06 when he chipped in. Yeah. Just with the Nike, and like when I watch it and I see it playing in the gym all the time, forget that he bogeyed the last two holes as well
to get into a playoff.
Yeah. But that shot specifically, I remember sitting at home like screaming at my dad saying that Tiger Woods is better than Jack Nicklaus. So, but then the best memory I have of the Masters is that I was lucky enough to go to the Masters in 2017 and watched it and just being in total awe of the whole place. Like it's.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you went.
Yeah, I got to go, and it just seeing how cool the golf course is. And I remember one specific place I was in the whole golf course was behind the 11th tee. I always thought that like that tee shot is so hard, but it just looks even better and harder from behind the tee.
Oh wow, we might tap into a small bit more about the actual course as well. But Peter, your main memory from the Masters as well would be great to hear.
One of my earliest, I suppose, I remember watching what's that? Winning money on Tiger, but the year before was Faldo and Norman. So, and like probably the best thing about, this isn't a name drop or anything, but I was on the Walker Cup squad last year, and we had one meeting where Fanny Sunnison was there because she was caddying for Frank Kennedy, who was also on that panel. And that afternoon, myself, Frank, Aaron Edwards-Hill and Mark Power played together. So I had Fanny for the day, so I fried her brain, because it's so funny. She did a talk with all of us, and she stood up and she said, most of you now won't have never even seen this. And I'm like, well, I'm the old guy in the group. I remember watching this as a teenager, like. So she was there for all of that. So I was asking her questions for the whole day, and she kind of said one thing that really stuck with me. She was like, she always spoken of like they'd lost to Norman once at some kind of Australian Open years ago, but Nick Faldo always kind of thought that he had better body language, and you could really see him, if you watch that back, Nick Faldo's body language during that time was unbelievable, like, particularly that day when they knew your man was struggling, and they also knew when he started hitting it left, he probably hit it left for the day. So I was just kind of getting a few nuggets from her on that, having watched it obviously as a kid, like. and then hearing her story when she was in it was pretty cool. So yeah, I don't really remember anything before that. What was I anyway, 14, 15 maybe around that time. So yeah, that was that one.
Brilliant. Um, Thinking back to Portugal, I think it was, and also being up in Mulranny with Rob Hogan and yourself recently, you were chatting about how you would attack that 13th hole. However, aside from that, is there any other hole that springs to your mind that you'd love a proper crack off, and how would you play it yourself?
I'd love to play the 10th. I've never been there, so I'd love to see I suppose the dramatic fall offs or
It's bizarre.
yeah,
It's way more dramatic and steep and
than it looks on
right
TV.
to left than it looks.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. And the second shot is unbelievably difficult because you're actually hitting off way more of a downslope than TV kind of shows. Is
Yeah.
what I gather from it.
Or the second shot up 8, like how sometimes there you
yeah.
see guys hitting a big high rope hook
Yeah,
almost.
because the green is actually tucked behind the trees, so you have to draw it to get onto the green.
Yeah,
And you can see you see videos of Tiger trying to rope a low
Yeah.
draw to get it running up and then use the contours to get it onto the green.
yeah.
Um,
Or even the second, like draw the drive and fade
Yeah.
the second shot.
yeah, the second
front
is a
right.
way tighter tee than I thought.
Yeah.
Like I stood on the tee here and I was and that was the second tee shot that I saw. So I couldn't believe how tight it was. Then the hole that always gets me is just the 11th, and actually how tight the 18 tee shot is. That's one
Yeah.
thing that shocked me. I was like 100% of the time I would hit it in those trees either side.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
and people say you have to fade it off 18, like you have to fade it by like a yard.
yeah.
It's so tight.
Is there anything else that you mentioned the greens, the slopeness of the greens, which we've heard mentioned before, definitely, but is there anything else from being at the Masters that you definitely wouldn't have picked up on at home, like even about the smells, the food truck, anything that kind of is remarkable to you from being there?
I think the practice grounds. The practice ground is like every green on the practice ground, the chip-in area, is the best green I've ever seen in my life. Like, and they're all placed perfectly. I suppose the big thing about the Masters that separated from, I got lucky enough to go to the Ryder Cup in 06 and the Open in 2019 in Portrush. And Portrush is my favorite course in the world, but everything in Augusta is like set there because they're ready for every year. And when you enter the premises and you have to go through metal detectors, it feels like you're in an airport. And it's even more organized and more structured and looks nicer than being in an airport. So that was the one thing that struck me. I was like, okay, this is like you're entering into the Masters now, and then not being able to have your phone. It's all just cool, like they're traditions.
Oh wow!
Yeah, very cool.
Speaking of traditions, Peter, again, Rob mentioned that when you do win the British Am and play in the Masters, the crow's nest might be an issue.
Yeah.
So can you explain what the crow's nest is?
Well, my understanding of that from guys who have won the British Am, I don't know, did James stay there? I don't think he did. So when you win the British Amateur, obviously, or the Amateur Championship, one of the perks of that win is you get a place in the Masters. But the Amateur Champion and the US Amateur Champion stay traditionally in the crow's nest, right?
Is it just the two of them, or there's a few?
I think there's a few now. There might be the Asian
US Mid-Am
Pacific
as well.
and yeah.
Because I
So
think Matt McLean stayed there as well.
he did, yeah. So, but I think James now during COVID, I think they rented a house. So I'm not sure. I actually am not sure. Is it a prerequisite? Do you have to do it, or is it an option?
Maybe
But it's certainly.
because of COVID.
I think so.
Yeah.
But there's certainly it's certainly a tradition that you get to stay in the loft of the clubhouse essentially. So that's kind of what that one is.
Is there any other tradition that specifically stands out for you that you just think is really special?
I suppose, the whole thing with the par 3 event. Now it's in my head, is it a bit cheesy on TV? It probably is a little bit. Yeah. Look, it is and it isn't. The pins are all set up for hoovering balls into the hole, and that's fine. Look, it's part of it now. Even the way you're introduced, how they introduce you there. I think it's an institution. Obviously now you can see how the press conferences are held. Yeah, it is an institution. Even how it still maintains the traditional presentation, butler cabin, etc., etc. So it's all history. It's all amazing. But I think even how the telecast comes across with at its own pace. Really, it's at its own pace and it does its thing. And
very unique and separate to everything. It's not
It
run
is.
by the PGA Tour. It's not
Yeah.
run by. They take full control, and
Yeah.
their app seems to be the great
The
app.
app is brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
Every shot, every player. Yeah.
It's off the scales.
Yeah, and again, going back to James, that I remember going to the app to watch. So every player has someone following them taking a video of every shot, and it's uploaded to the Masters app, so you can
Yeah.
go in at any time and follow whatever player. Like, there's a lot of work in that.
And it was very cool actually getting to see James playing and then Matt playing last year as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah,
it's
Matt
very
as well.
cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So we were all obviously watching them because you want to see how your friends and your teammates are getting on in
Yeah.
a major, like.
Yeah, because that's the closest, like, for a lot of people, it'll be the closest thing that they'll ever get to playing it is like seeing someone that's close to them
you
actually
know, yeah.
playing and then going through, like, let's say shots that they hit, and then you kind of put yourself in their shoes as well.
Yeah.
So, and also one thing that struck me about Augusta that I was shocked by is just how tight the first tee shot is. Like,
It's a hard hole, isn't it?
it's a really hard hole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's way harder than it shows.
Really? Wow. And talk about in terms of favourites and in terms of kind of making your money back or making your money again from your 16-1 bet with Tiger. Who is someone that you would like to see, but who is someone who you think will win it?
Who would I obviously I'd love to see Tiger. I'd like to see Rory for obvious reasons. Just from a pure respect as a golfer. I would like to see like someone like a Xander Schauffele because I think he deserves, like, I think he's made 40 something cuts in a row on the PGA Tour now, and he
Finds
just
it
seems
hard
like
to finish it out, doesn't
yeah, and
He's
I feel like
he's a layer's dream, like.
yeah, I feel like he's due.
He's a what dream, sorry?
He's a layer's dream. If you were laying a player coming down the stretch, it's a bit rich coming from me, like. But anyway,
That might be ways to go bet this week, you know.
it might be.
Yeah, you might get good odds.
I
on
saw
him if he's
Russell
up.
Henley last night. I was like, holy shit! Like, he's had, was it 4 of the last 5 events in the top 5 or thereabouts, and he did well in the Masters last year.
He's played there a lot. He's from Georgia.
Yeah, like an unbelievable putter. Who would I like? Sorry, did it come to me? Anyway,
Go for it.
Rory as well. Yeah, I think he deserves it. I can't see how Scotty Scheffler is not going to shoot double digits under par. I just can't see it.
Scotty and Brooks are the two who I would put as like who I think would win it.
Yeah, I have people will say shut up, like, but I have a sense for Bryson for some mad reason. I don't know. Yeah, it is a mad one. I just see. Can you overpower Augusta? I can, going back to Tiger that time in '97, completely overpowering it. Has anyone done it since in the way he did? Because they did change the golf course to probably
Tiger proved it.
prevent
They're
that.
changing, or did they change the 15th to make it longer?
Apparently, yeah. And 13 has gone back. That was back last year.
That was
wasn't
back last year.
it? Yeah, it was so funny. Remember Bryson put on all the speed and he came out and he made an absolute
He said like there's a par
arse of
68
himself.
and he
Yeah,
shot
yeah,
75.
made an arse himself. So look, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. I know now this isn't about betting, but like we were chatting earlier on, Scheffler at 7-2. I mean, that's back to Tiger heyday.
That is
odds.
like, yeah. But a lot of that is probably just the separation in tours as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like he's just the most viewed person at the moment, so it's probably really hard to actually set odds for lads. I think who will have a good tournament, and I would actually love to see him win, is Neiman.
Do you think, it's totally off piece, do you think people on Live are underprepared versus people on the other tours going into a major?
I think that probably depends on individuals. Like I think
As in the environment they're in, do you think Live underprepares players
uh,
versus... This
for
question got
majors.
asked to me recently.
it's actually a really good question because
Yeah.
I think for majors for Dustin Johnson absolutely underprepares him. For Brooks Koepka, I think it's perfect. I think for John Rahm, it probably underprepares him.
Yeah,
Because like
it's
John
interesting.
Rahm seems to be
Like Patrick Reed, it's
reactive.
wiped him out, like,
Yeah.
it seems anyway.
Yeah.
For a guy who's won the Masters, you know?
And the fatigue aspect as well, given 54 holes versus 72 side of things would be a big factor as well.
On that's the argument. Are you under-preparing? Are you not? Are you 25% less every week prepared or in that intense zone?
Or are you fresher?
Or are you fresher?
And that's the thing where I think it depends on the individual, like what they thrive on. Like Brooks seems to thrive on rest in coming into a major, whereas someone like Dustin Johnson or Rahm likes to use momentum. So where do they work if they don't have
do
any
they fit
momentum?
in
Where are
there,
they
like?
getting confidence from?
Yeah.
And like Rahm hasn't blown
Hasn't
it away
even- no.
in Live at all.
No.
Whereas so I don't know. I think it really depends. I think for Kepka, I think it's the best thing ever for him because he's under the radar. Like he didn't play great last week, but I bet if you asked him now, he probably feels as good, if not better than ever.
Yeah.
And then I don't think John Ram and Dustin Johnson doesn't seem like he cares too much, but I don't think he'd say the same about Ram. Whereas last year he had loads of momentum going into it.
Yeah.
And he was like full of confidence. So I think it's a
It'll be interesting.
tricky
Neiman
one.
now would be an interesting one coming from Liv. He's won a few times and
Won a few times like on Live and then in Australia as well. And then did he win in Dubai as well?
yeah.
He's won a few different
Yeah,
places on a few different tours, which I think is impressive about him.
Yeah,
And actually looks like he's playing really, really, really good golf.
Yeah.
5 are on the field, so 5 are on the field. We'll move into our Masters mix.
Yeah.
So this is a general knowledge round. There will be a forfeit for the loser, given if
Right.
it's today or another time, we'll work that out when we see who wins.
What does the loser have to do? Burpee?
Yeah. Burpee's on the 10th envelope. But first of all, Peter, come to you. How many people are on the Divot team at Augusta National?
What a great question.
On the Divot team.
I know the answer.
Do you?
No.
Two, let's break it down. Temper hole. 180.
180?
Yeah.
18,
18.
by all accounts.
One per hole.
My reference is one documentary, which I'll send on later on as well.
Makes
I was going
sense.
to say 60.
Were you?
That's what I was going to say.
But they said between 16 and 18 people. So nil all. Okay, Keith, coming to you. Which way does the grain go on the fairway?
Oh, always towards the players. Like towards the tee box.
Towards the tee box. Okay, Peter, what are you going for?
Oh,
So it's always into the grain.
I would have. Well, I'm going to say. No, I'm going to say the same. Yeah, into the grain.
Well, I'll give you another one. What way does it go in the rough?
Towards the green. Promote flyers, surely.
Correct.
Yes.
Keith, again, my source has said that on the fairway it goes against the golfer.
Which is
That's
towards
what
the
he said.
tee.
That's what he said.
Oh, excuse me, yes.
Yes.
So we're both right.
We're both right.
Maybe I misheard
The
that.
three of us.
One all, one all. Okay, so in preparation for the Masters,
Just the
amazing,
small
yeah.
details like that are
yeah.
again like tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, mind-blowing stuff. Again, in the preparation for the Masters, the groundsmen have something hanging from their ride-ons. It's a type of ball. What type of ball is hanging from the roof of the mowers in preparation for the Masters?
What type of ball? Like
Yes.
it could be not a golf ball or it's a
Yeah,
type of golf ball.
I'll give you a clue. It's not a golf
It's
ball.
not a golf ball.
American football.
No.
Tennis ball.
Correct.
Good man.
Why is it a tennis ball?
Do you know?
Deter birds.
No, but that's another good guess. That's another good guess. So they can see hydraulic leaks and throw a ball in front of the mower in front of them to signify to raise up the mowers and get out of the line. So the hydraulic leak will burn the grass. It's happened before, so that's what they've come up with to throw a tennis ball. Yeah.
Every day is a school day here, like, yeah.
Every day is a school day, Carl.
Yeah.
Coming towards the end of our quickfire, how many lefties are teeing it up this year in 2024?
Brian Harman.
Ashkai Bayata,
Yeah.
Brian Harman.
Surely there's one other.
Yeah, there probably is.
I'm going to bet that there's at least one other.
And Bubba, 5.
Oh, hang on. Maybe there's one other.
Oh, there's not.
There has to be. Who do we say? Bubba, Phil, Brian Harman. What's your man?
Ashkai Bayata.
Ashkai
It's not.
Bayata,
We'll go with this
seriously,
one. Bubba,
Who's the last one?
Brian Harman, Phil, Mike Weir.
Mike Weir. So that's 5. And Rob McIntyre playing?
Well, this will have to be double checked afterwards because from my source, again, it's 4. Mike Weir being one of them, Nicholson, Brian Harman. I'm going to say Bubba, but
Well, your man got in from winning last night.
Yeah.
Bayata.
oh, brilliant. Okay, I gotcha. So we're going to discount this question anyway.
We're not.
No, keep it in. We'll
Keep it
do-
in, but we-
you can
but-
Google it right now.
But if who was the last one there? To pull out an oar?
Rob McIntyre.
He's surely in the field.
I don't know.
I don't think
he is.
Really?
I don't think he is. Yeah.
All right. Maybe not.
So what's the score currently?
He's probably won. Yeah, sure, look, he's winning everything at the
We'll
moment.
go to
Just give it to him.
okay. Last two. What's the infamous plant that lines the fairways of Augusta?
Azalea.
Azalea.
All right.
So now you're all level, 2-all. And last but not least,
I'm seeing here is Bob McIntyre in the field. Sorry, go on.
who are the 5 players that have won career Grand Slams?
So Gary
Nicholas.
Player, Tiger, Nicholas,
Palmer.
Palmer, and Snead. Snead won it? No.
Don't think so.
Finn Thurston.
Yes. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And very last, please, okay, right after touching on the traditions. Peter, you've won the Masters. It's time to sort the menu for the Champions Dinner. And this question is coming to you as well, Keith. What is on the menu for the Champions
surf
Dinner?
and turf with fillet steak and lobster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, geez, you can't not have
on.
steak, I don't think. Steak, and I'd have calamari as a starter and then steak.
Dessert?
Bread and butter pudding.
I would have raspberry cheesecake.
Lovely.
Brilliant. Lads will report back after this, see if your predictions are in any way correct. In the meantime, enjoy the Masters.
Mighty.
Savage. There are some fucking great questions.
Yeah.